1,000 years after the last human disappears, Manhattan still exists. But it is no longer a city. Only a handful of forgotten structures still rise above an endless forest, like fossils from another civilization. To understand how New York reached this point, we have to return to the very first day humanity vanished. At first, nothing seems unusual. The machines continue doing exactly what they were designed to do. Electricity still flows through buildings that no one will ever enter again. Then, somewhere in the city, one small neighborhood quietly loses power for the first time. Traffic lights continue changing on empty streets, waiting for vehicles that will never return. Deep underground, pumps keep moving millions of gallons of water every hour. But without maintenance, even the smallest leak becomes the beginning of something much larger. A tiny electrical fire starts inside an empty building, with no one left to put it out. As night falls, darkness spreads across Manhattan, block by block, until the skyline begins to disappear. Times Square, once the brightest place on Earth, falls completely silent. Below the streets, the subway still looks almost unchanged. But appearances can be deceiving. Without electricity, the pumps stop. Groundwater slowly begins reclaiming the tunnels. As the city grows quieter, wildlife begins returning to places it abandoned generations ago. Wind carries dust, leaves, and seeds through streets built for millions of people. After just 1 week, New York is still standing. But it no longer belongs to humanity. Storm after storm weakens the glass walls that once protected the skyline. Rainwater slips into offices designed to survive only with constant maintenance. Small plants take root wherever concrete begins to crack. Nature expands one street at a time, starting from the city's largest green space. 1 year later, Times Square remains recognizable, but the city is already beginning to disappear beneath nature. Tree roots slowly force apart the pavement, widening every crack left behind. The subway is no longer a transportation system. It has become an underground river. As tunnels collapse below, entire sections of the street sink into the empty spaces beneath them. Smaller buildings fail first, unable to survive decades without repair. Even skyscrapers eventually begin losing the glass skin that once defined them. 50 years after humanity disappears, Manhattan is becoming something entirely different. Steel bridges slowly weaken as rust replaces decades of careful maintenance. After 2 centuries, parts of the Brooklyn Bridge finally give way to gravity. The Statue of Liberty still stands, but time has transformed its meaning forever. Powerful storms continue stripping away what remains of the tallest towers. Some skyscrapers collapse completely. Others remain as hollow shells above the forest. Where crowds once gathered, trees now grow undisturbed beneath open skies. From above, Manhattan no longer resembles a city. It looks like a thriving ecosystem. 500 years later, forests and wetlands have almost completely erased the urban landscape. Without seawalls or pumps, the shoreline gradually reshapes itself through the forces of nature. Only faint lines beneath the trees reveal where streets once connected millions of lives. Hidden beneath the forest floor, ancient foundations remain as the final footprints of civilization. After 1,000 years, only fragments of Manhattan still remind the earth that a city once stood here. Even Times Square has vanished beneath forests, soil, and centuries of forgotten history. Nature never set out to destroy New York. It simply continued without us. Subscribe to Vanished Earth Files for more journeys into Earth's forgotten future.